What's going on, guys? I'm doing a review today on something that I've had for probably about 6 months now, and that is this, the Uniden R7 radar detector. I made a video back when I first bought this, pretty much giving like my first initial impressions. And at first I wasn't really all that impressed by this, but over time, as I've really had the opportunity to have this really kind of save my ass, this thing is incredible. And I'm gonna pretty much go over kind of doing a quick review on this thing and kind of telling you a couple stories about how this thing has saved me and showing a bit of footage about how it works in certain circumstances. Now, I'm not gonna go over every single little feature in here, all the dimming options, all the 10,000 things you can do with it. I'm just going over the absolute basics of using this as just a basic radar detector. I ended up going with the Uniden R7. There's a couple other options you could go with for radar detectors, such as the Escort Max 360, the Mark II, and then you can get the newer edition of this, which is the Uniden R8. I think the Uniden R7 is a phenomenal kind of sweet spot for the money because the R8 is ridiculously expensive, and this pretty much gets the job done in every single way. So what does this thing primarily pick up? Well, it primarily picks up X-band, K-band, Ka-band, and LiDAR, which is laser. So what is this thing most useful for? It's really best used for radar. I mean, that's why it's called the radar detector. Now, the reason I kind of say that is because you can also run into laser. So for me in Connecticut, a lot of our cops, at least the ones on the highways, the state troopers, they use laser. This thing will pick up LiDAR, but by the time it picks it up, it's really too late. So where this really shines is on the back roads, or if you're in a state where the cops that you run into primarily use radar as opposed to laser. Now, if you're driving in a state such as New York, this thing will really save your ass because from what I've experienced driving through New York, a lot of the cops there use your traditional Ka-band. So K-band and Ka-band, the way they work is the cop basically uses a radar gun. And what's fantastic is the radar gun, it doesn't have to be pointed right at you. It could be pointed at another car in a different direction, and as long as it's being fired off, this thing will detect it. And what's great about it is this will detect it from an insane distance. Not only will it detect it at an insane distance, it'll detect it around curves with obstacles in the way. So this thing will really come in handy on like windy, twisty back roads and in general, your kind of side streets, because it'll pick up the cop well before you see him. On the highway, where this really kind of came in handy for me, and I'll tell you guys this little story. We just ended up going to Pennsylvania not too long ago on a little vacation, and we ended up driving through New York State. Now, New York is ridiculous when it comes to cops. Like every single divider between the highways, there's a cop, and it's unbelievable. This thing picked them up every single time, so far in advance. Before I could even see them, this thing was already tripping for Ka-band. So we're driving on the highway, pretty much going straight, and it picks up a Ka-band. So I'm like, all right, cool. There's a cop up ahead. Let me, slow down, 65 in the right lane, a nice gentle cruise. And the signal keeps getting stronger. And ultimately, I finally see him kind of sitting in the divider. So then I pass him. And as most people do when they pass a cop, they just decide to go. They're like, all right, cool. Cop's behind us. Let me rip it. So I'm driving a little bit farther and I'm waiting for the signal to completely drop off. And it doesn't drop off. The directions, so this thing does have a really cool feature where it tells you which direction the radar is coming from, whether it's ahead of you, on the sides, or behind you. And that is a phenomenal feature. And probably one of my favorite features about this is it tells you roughly where it's coming from. It was showing the signal behind me, which made sense as soon as I passed him, but it just stayed at like 1 or 2 bars of signal. And I'm like, there's no way. Like the range on this thing, it doesn't reach that far. So I'm like, you know what? Let me sit in this lane for a little bit longer. Let me just cruise 65, nice and smooth, nice and comfy, because I'm out of state. If he pulls me over, it's gonna be a whole big big annoyance. So I stay in that lane driving, and then lo and behold, not too while longer, the signal gets stronger and stronger and stronger, and then I see him kind of slowly pulling up, kind of hovers next to me for a little bit, and then he takes off. So the way I interpreted it was, I noticed him sitting there, slowed down, and he thought, nah, as soon as he goes by me, he's gonna start speeding up again. I'll pull out, go after him, and catch him that way. But luckily this thing saved me, because it kind of told me that the cop was behind us, coming from that direction. So that's where this thing is phenomenal. Another story, same road trip, as we're returning home, it's nighttime. We're like gunning it middle of the night. There's other cars around us, right? Like we're all cruising, and I detect a KA band up ahead. So of course I do my thing, I merge over to the right lane, slow down, and just go on a gentle cruise. And I'm like, where the hell is he? And I'm waiting, the signal's like blaring and blaring, and I'm like, I don't see him. And then finally we pass the median where he's sitting, like behind a bush, lights completely off. Like you can't see him at all. Like the scummiest, just like hiding in plain sight bullshit you've ever seen. The dude's sitting there, and I pass him and I'm like, holy crap, this thing just saved me. And then there's so many other times. I'll put them on the screen kind of as I talk. So let's jump into the car and talk a little bit more about this, and we'll go for a little drive. The radar detector, what's really awesome about it is it comes with this little cable too. Show you guys that there's a little mute button on here, so whenever it goes off, you just mute it from like right down here, because I know some people have it like up here and you have to click the mute button on the side here and whatever. I love this button because it's the most convenient thing. All right, let's go for a drive and we'll talk a little bit about whether I think it's actually worth it. Now obviously, as I've pretty much alluded to during the first half of this video, I really do think this is worth it. It is $500 for the Uniden R7, so it is a bit of a hefty upfront price. The amount you spend on an attorney, and trust me, I would know, right? I've been pulled over many times and I have a clean driving record, okay? Trust me, attorney fees are not cheap, and this thing makes up for that so much, let me tell you guys. So at least here in the state of Connecticut, what I typically would pay in attorney's fees for like one speeding ticket is about, I don't know, like $400 maybe. So right away, one speeding ticket is pretty much covered by the cost of this radar detector. And I know someone in the comments is inevitably gonna say, or at least think, well, if you don't speed, you're not gonna get any speeding tickets, and then you don't have to worry about it at all. And it's like, well, then why are you on a video about radar detectors if you don't speed yourself? So if you have a story like mine where I go out of state to New York, where there's so many cops everywhere, I'm in a bright blue BMW M2, there's a good chance I'm gonna get pulled over. So in my opinion, the $500 really is a small price to pay long term, especially because you could take this and put it in your other car too. Like, it's not limited to one car. I use this in this car primarily, obviously it's an M2, but then I also use it in my daily driver whenever I go out of state. If it is legal and you travel out of state a lot and the neighboring states all allow you to use radar detectors, 100% worth it. I do have a link in the description for the same one that I bought, which is, like I said, the Uniden R7. There are other competitors that also offer them, the main one being Escort with the Max 360 Mark II, I believe. I was debating which one to buy because both of them are really good. They're both gonna kind of do what you want it to do. The range on the Uniden is far greater than in the Escort Max. So that's ultimately why I went with the Uniden, because it just gives me a bit longer distance and protection. I've had times where this thing picks it up before I go over this long hill down. I slow down and I just cruise like 35 when everyone wants to go like 60. And then I get to the cop that's sitting at the bottom of the hill and he's kind of glaring at me as I drive by, as if he knows that I knew he was there. Now, what are the drawbacks? Because there are drawbacks to the radar detector. The main one is, like I said many times, if the cops in your state don't use radar as much as they use laser, this thing will not help you all that much. This thing is great around town because they don't really use laser through towns. They usually use it on the highways. But if you're in a state where they do use radar predominantly, this thing is incredible. The main limit that this thing has is it is only a tool. It in itself will not necessarily save you. It will give you the information that you then have to take and decide, do I take this information and slow down and assume it's a cop? Or do I ignore this information, keep going, and take the chance? If you get like a KA band pop off, 95% of the time it's a cop. A K band maybe 40% of the time, from my experience, it's a cop, but most of the time it's a false positive from, you know, your CVS stores, Dollar General stores. And the other big one is those speed signs, the ones that you see on the side of the road where it says, oh, speed limit 35, this is how fast you're going, and they change in real time. It picks them up. So you get kind of false positives from that, even though it is detecting your speed. It's not an actual cop detecting it. So you have those kind of situations. There are other features, like you can mark different waypoints kind of as you drive to say, hey, in this spot, usually there's a cop sitting. Let me mark this location. So next time I drive by it, it'll alert me, say, hey, you're about to approach this area where a cop usually sits. Just be careful. Personally, I don't use it. I just use it for the real time. Like, either it's gonna detect something or it's not. I don't need to approach an area that I already know a cop usually sits and have this thing tell me, hey, a cop usually sits here. Like, it's redundant to me. I'm already aware of it. It has features that aren't really all that useful in the real world. Now, that is really about all I can say in this video for it. It's just a quick review. Like I said, I'm not going into every single feature, every single detail, because I don't think there's really a need for it. I'm just reviewing its basic ability to detect radar and cops. And this thing does a phenomenal job, and that's pretty much where I'm gonna leave it at. It is $500 for this one. So once again, there's a link in the description if you do wanna buy one for yourself. I do highly, highly recommend this. I know I do make a little bit of commission off people purchasing through that link, but genuinely from the bottom of my car enthusiast heart, I do recommend this thing. I drive with it everywhere. I do truly love this thing. At first, I wasn't all that into it, but then once I kind of had more run-ins with officers, this thing really kind of shined. 100% get yourself one. So for now, that is really going to be it for this video. I really hope you guys found this one helpful, and I really hope you guys consider picking up a radar detector. It's going to be cheaper than buying an attorney to get rid of your speeding tickets. Trust me, I would know. And thank you guys so much for watching. Like this video if you like this video. Subscribe if you want to see more videos for me, especially as we're about 100 subscribers away from 1,000. It would truly, truly mean a lot, and I would really appreciate it. That's gonna be it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time.